Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the Salescast Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we are on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Darrell Amy.
I'm thrilled to personally invite you to join me on the incredible journey with the release of the audiobook version of Selling in a Post-Trust World. In this new audiobook, I'll guide you through the game-changing principles of authentic relationships, meaningful value, and how to leave behind the empty suit mentality forever. You'll hear it all straight from me because I narrate the entire audiobook myself. As we dive into inspiring stories and practical advice, you'll discover how to bring heart and sincerity into your sales approach, connect on a deeper level with your clients, and ultimately thrive in today's skeptical world. Whether you're driving, working out, or relaxing, let's spend some time together exploring the soft skills that will yield you hard dollars. Don't just read the book, let me share it with you. Download the audiobook today on Audible and other major platforms.
Hello and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Oh, dude, you almost threw me off with the screen rearrangement, but I
know.
am glad we're here. We're going to have a great time. Always good seeing my dear friend, Mr. Darrell Amy.
We've got the Chameleon Effect in the house. We're looking forward to this conversation today with Stephen Oommen. You're going to really enjoy this. And here we are as we're moving through the year where everyone's moving at Mach speed right now. It's such an exciting time. And I love at the beginning of the podcast, just giving a shout out to the friends that we're meeting along the way that are traveling at Mach 5 with us down this journey through this sales profession we all love.
I have to give a special shout out to somebody who's near and dear to us at the Selling from the Heart podcast. It's somebody at our friends Learn It. And I just wanted to give a special shout out to Mickey Fitch Collins. And she's a sweetheart. She wears her heart on her sleeve. She listens to the podcast. Learn It's a big supporter of what we got going on here. Mickey, I really appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Love the team at Learn It. Hats off to you and hats off to everybody in this community. By the way, if you're new to the Selling from the Heart podcast, welcome. You've joined a growing community of sales professionals that are dedicated to being genuine, being authentic, building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. And when it comes to building trust, there's no one better than our guest today. We're thrilled to have Stephen Oommen, a veteran executive with deep roots in technology and finance, and the soon-to-be best-selling author of The Chameleon Effect. This book delves into the art of building professional relationships and fostering a network culture, drawing on Stephen's extensive experience as a leader and strategist. In our conversation today, Stephen is going to share key insights from his upcoming book on how to adapt and thrive in any professional environment by mastering the nuances of networking and relationship building. This is going to be a great conversation. Stephen, welcome to the Selling from the Heart studios. It's great to have you here.
Well, first and foremost, thank you. Very much appreciate it. Been a long time coming. So all I can say is gratitude.
Oh, it's all good. We're glad you're here.
Well, as we get started, Stephen, you know the question that every guest on the Selling from the Heart podcast answers, and that is, what does it mean to you to sell from the heart?
Man, that is such a tough question and an easy question to answer because, I mean, when you listen to the podcast, it's like, you don't want to say the same thing that every guest says. So I'll take a little bit of a reverse and ask this question rhetorically, but selling from the heart, whose heart? Right. And so the way that I think about that is, especially with this book that I'm writing, it is about the heart of the situation that you're in. So to me, selling from the heart means you're focused on the heart of your buyer, the other person, the circumstance. And so really figuring out what's in their heart. So that's what I'm selling from, is it's not necessarily selling from my heart, but selling from others' hearts.
Oh, this is really good. And as I'm sitting here listening to this, the title of your book, The Chameleon Effect, I think had something to do with how you just answered what you answered. So that was a good twist there, dude. I really like how you threw in the chameleon effect without saying anything.
You're not wrong.
Well, we're excited about this book, and I know it's, first of all, it's an honor to have a conversation with you, as this is in process. I love soon to be bestseller, because I know with what we're going to talk about today, the topics and the concepts that you're bringing to us are extremely helpful. So catch us up here, catch all of our listeners up. What's the genesis of the chameleon effect?
Yeah, so I'll share it from this perspective. I always talk about this sort of mic drop moment, because if you just hear the title, you might be, what does this have to do with business? What does this have to do with the go-to-market community? What does it have to do with people in general? Because many times people think of chameleons as, hey, I'm hiding. And ultimately what I think of in terms of the chameleon effect is chameleons, if we take back that word and sort of a pattern interrupt, what do chameleons do? They look at the situation and they show up in the environment to be one with the environment, which tells me it's more about the environment and other people that are in their world than just themselves, right? And the underlying effect that we'll probably dig into with this conversation is it's really about networking and understanding how you can have or create some power behind warm referrals, a sales motion. And I'll dig deeper into how that is with sort of a mic drop moment that I had with one of my executives in my career, and, explain how this all got started.
This is good. And I always think, we're big believers here in inspiration. I mean, that's a crux of everything that we do here at Selling from the Heart. It's through the lens of inspiration as we influence people to see and achieve things they don't believe they can do on their own. So walk us through, if you don't mind, the inspiration behind this. I mean, I always know you never know someone until you know their backstory, but what's the inspiration behind the chameleon effect?
So I'm going to go through something that's very personal. I love podcasts like Selling from the Heart because they're not scripted. We didn't have like this understanding of here's all the questions we're going to ask. It's just a conversation, which is the most authentic. It's the ethos of what this is all about. But I remember somebody asking me, and this is not to sound at all arrogant or anything of that nature, but here's what they asked me. They go, how is it you can walk into any room and get along with literally everyone? You seem to find a way to get people's cell numbers, to keep in touch with people. And here's the crazy thing is I'm not an extrovert. I am a very much introverted type of person. And so I did not know how to effectively answer that question, because I was like, I don't know, I just do. And many times people who have a skill think that it's natural because they don't know how to articulate how they do what they do. But when I took a minute, time, months, years to really understand, hey, how did this come about? You start to break down that it was actually nurture, and sometimes it's experience and circumstances that create the environment to make you learn the skills out of necessity. So that was a question that I continued to be asked, right? And so in August, about 6 months ago, I sort of semi-retired. I like to say the word semi-retired because I realized that we all continue to do something no matter whether we're working a corporate job or not. And I was like, what do I do with my time? And that's when this whole idea of creating a book really came into existence. And I had come out of an environment, and if anybody is in sales today, I was noticing on LinkedIn especially, and everywhere you look, everybody's teaching tactics around cold outbound. And I remember asking one of my executives, this was like literally in the last couple of years, I go, when was the last time a seller cold called you or cold emailed you out of the blue and you actually gave them the meeting and I'm talking about specifically complex sales, not a transactional sale, but even maybe that, and you gave them the meeting and actually bought from them, don't worry, I'll wait. Literally, they couldn't remember.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I'll tell you what the answer is. In the last decade, and I've had massive budgets in my career twice. I am not here to tell you that cold outbound is dead. What I'm saying is that mic drop moment, when I actually ask executives this question almost every time now, it's the same executives that are pushing down these big SDR initiatives, all these cold call metrics, all these cold emails. And people are out there teaching the tactics, but unfortunately, tactics don't scale. Principles do. And what happens is if you copy a tactic without understanding the principle, or if you don't understand or observe the intention, that's the recipe for manipulation. And this is what people don't understand. And that's really the crux of the book. Because I'll give you this example. Let's say you copy a tactic, you get the other person on the line, but you're not the person with the right principles, the right experience, the right everything. Now you don't know what to do in that moment. And unfortunately, that's the type of situation that causes prospects and buyers to disrespect the noble profession that I love so much, which is sales. And you better believe I'm on a mission that I'm going to help the best I can, because guess who also used to be that person? So I've experienced both ends of this. And at the end of the day, the Chameleon Effect is truly about being in someone else's world. But I am a big believer that it's about the right type of relationships, building a network, because it is so much easier to pick up the phone and call someone you know instead of someone you don't. Argue with me on that.
Yeah, Stephen, I'm having like these flashbacks to 30 years ago. Just, when I was like memorizing, they were doing the transparencies on the overhead projector and like memorize this and say it back. And you walk into someone's office, because we were cold outreach, cold calling doorknobs. You walk into someone's office and you'd say the line and they would not say what they were supposed to say back. And you'd be like, I don't know what to do. There were moments where you just want to turn around and walk out, especially if you're an introvert like me as well. So I'm really intrigued by this concept. I love the principle and the intention behind how all this has come together in all of that. And also love to have on the show a fellow introvert who's a sales junkie, which is fantastic, because I think there are many, many of us out there. But unpack this for us some more. So how do you show up with the Chameleon Effect in a way that it makes people comfortable and you walk out of the room with friends?
Yeah. So I'm going to actually take a step back and share with you the first time that I actually used the word chameleon to define myself in terms of an adjective. And let me tell you the story, because it was the first tech sales job that I actually got. I had been in sales before this, but I think this was 2014-ish or something of that nature. But anyways, I walk into a formal interview. It was live. And this panel of leaders had not ever seen me before, because this was pre-Teams, pre-Skype. We were, you would do the screening on a regular phone call. Can't believe how much the world has changed, but right, we weren't doing things of this nature. And like any interview, a sales interview, they ask you, hey, everybody wants this job. What makes you unique? What makes you different? What's your superpower? Again, I don't know why I said this, but I said the craziest thing that I could think of, because I had prepared a little bit ahead of time. And I said, you know what? Go big or go home. But this is actually the truth of what I said. And I actually believe this about myself. I go, I'm the world's biggest chameleon and the best chameleon. Now they looked at me, they're like, what does this mean? Right. Now, I guarantee you this was an answer they had never heard before. And they told me later that it was the best answer they'd ever heard and something that was very unique. But I go, here's what I mean by this. And this is where it could have gotten me in trouble, or I could have won big. And thankfully I won big. But I said, before I walked into this room, you had no idea what I looked like. I guarantee you by the sound of my voice, you assumed I look like a Caucasian male. Yeah, that look that you all have right there is like, where's this going? They're like,
dude, you read us really well. That was like, good.
Is HR? Are you about to call HR? Is this a prank? How do you respond to that if you're a leader in an interview? And I said, relax. Let me explain what I mean by that. What I have learned is the fact that there are different circumstances that I have gone through in life that have allowed me to understand a lot of cultures, a lot of situations, and a lot of different things. I said, by the color of my skin, you probably think I am African American. But by heritage and I'm an immigrant, like my parents were immigrants coming to this country from India, by culture and ethnicity, I'm actually full-blood Indian. And my point to them was this. So if I were to walk, and at the time, you sold a little bit into IT, there's a little bit of different, cultures all over the world. And I've actually have friends from all different backgrounds and cultures. So there's more to the story. But the whole point is, the short version is that I explained to them, just by who I am, just by the circumstances that I've gone through. Like if I walk into an IT department, let's be honest, there's a lot of individuals that are of Indian descent. I understand the culture automatically and can create congruency in the conversation. I grew up predominantly with people thinking that I was African American. I got treated a certain way growing up in Oklahoma. Unfortunately, not always positive, right? And some really traumatic situations. But the truth of the matter is, it caused empathy, it caused understanding, there's so much that I understand from that world. Again, my dialect, I actually went through broadcasting school to help with diction and dialects. I wouldn't have a Southern accent, so I had a certain articulation. There's all these things that I have gone through because things that happened in my life. And the whole point was, and I said to them, there's not a room that I cannot walk into that I can't find a way to understand the other side of the table and to be one with them. And it doesn't matter where I go, I will find a friend, but I'm the world's biggest chameleon. The looks on their faces when I finished my 5-minute soliloquy, right? They're like, you're hired. And it was something that, again, I had learned over time that was sort of a forcing function based on, growing up and different things I had experienced. But what I also realized is it became my superpower. Because what I realized is it's not about me. There is so much learning that can happen. And because of that, again, I know a lot about a lot of different cultures. I remember one time I was listening. It was a photographer. I walked in, she started speaking. I go, are you Hungarian or Romanian? And she looked at me like, no one's been able to ever pinpoint that. And she goes, I'm actually half Hungarian, half Romanian.
Nice.
Interestingly enough. So that's really what it boils down to, is showing up in someone else's world. But how do you create the skills, and how do you actually do that? That's really what it's really about.
Oh, what a wonderful story. And by the way, thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. And I know so does our audience, but I still want to play on all of this. And I'm just going to ask you a why question on this, just to set this all up. Is I understand your backstory now better than I did before, and how you're so deeply connected to this message and the book, The Chameleon Effect. But why do you feel, here we are where people are starving, right? People are starving for trustworthy sales professionals who are incredible, who are authentic, who sell from the heart. Why do you feel that the Chameleon Effect right now at this time is so important? Because I love that story, but if you just cascade this out into the sales world and for sales leaders, why is this so mission critical for people to understand what you just said?
So I think it starts with the word authenticity. And I actually believe something either uniquely different, or I articulate authenticity very differently than I hear most people articulate it. And here's the difference. When I hear most people talk about authenticity, I hear them talk about it as bring your whole self. I actually don't believe that, because different circumstances require different facets of who we are. Mm-hmm. And we need that portion of ourselves. And I use a funny example, and then I'll relate it to the corporate world, into sales, and to different areas. I think the situation dictates how we should show up. For example, I'm an avid basketball player. If we are down 2 points at the end of the game, fourth quarter, there's 3 or 4 seconds left on the clock, give me the ball. I'm intense. Get out of my way. Like, I am a very different Stephen than the father of my 3-year-old at 7:30 at night, putting him to bed. Because guarantee you don't want basketball, Stephen, putting my 3-year-old to bed, because he ain't sleeping for a week if that Stephen shows up. And in reverse, you don't want goo gaga Stephen on the court in the fourth quarter, hugging and like trying to cuddle my teammates. Sorry, those are two very different Stephens, both extremely authentic and 100%.
I love it. Yeah.
So it's the situation that dictates how we need to show up. So here's the difference in when you talk about trust and why this world needs this so much. Because we are in a world, especially the last 10 years, that have been hiding behind screens, behind technology, behind robo-dialers, behind sales execution, behind all these other things. And in what authenticity really looks like is, instead of me bringing my whole self, I'm going to invite you into different areas of my life so you get the viewpoint of my whole self. Most people are trying to put people in a box. But guess what, Larry? You're going to see a different side of me if we have dinner together. Darrell, you're going to see a different side of me if I invite you over and we're playing with my kids. You're also going to see a different side of me in the boardroom, or if we play sports together. Very different than who I'm showing up as in this podcast. And so the world needs to be reconnected. This is why I'm so big on networking, because again, I believe in boundaries. I get all that. But we have set up so many boundaries. This is why people can't be their authentic self. And there's all these issues. In my opinion, maybe it's just an opinion of one, is because we've set up all these boundaries and we've actually reduced connection instead of inviting connection. And so people have actually no longer learned the skills. So for example, what do I mean by that? Etiquette. Is etiquette natural, or is that a learned skill and a learned behavior? A kid doesn't know what a salad fork is, right? Like, different cultures have different ways of etiquette. So it's the same thing in sales. Networking, for example, all these skills that we used to teach. Now what do we teach? How to write a cold email, put it in a tool. How do we read a script on a cold call? How do we work all that? But we're worried about all this stuff that we forget about this. Just how do we have a regular conversation? How do we invite someone in? How do we have the right tonality? How when somebody says, "How are you?" How do we know when they're being polite? How do we know when to hold them accountable and say, "Are you really asking that?" Or, right?
Yeah.
There is so much to unpack. That's why I think it's so important, especially right now.
I love this. And I like the concept of saying, what part of my authentic self am I going to bring to this situation? And the illustration between the basketball court, putting your kids to bed, like that's great. That's you. And we can all relate to different situations that we show up in, and the ways we act, the ways we dress, the way we approach things. It reminds me, I was probably 25 years ago with Tom Hopkins talking about reducing resistance and then increasing acceptance. And there's something that's got me so excited about this book that's coming up. I'm so stoked about it. I know as we wrap this up, I'm really curious, like if you could give one, we got listeners listening in going, okay, I get what you're saying. Like what's one thing that our listeners could do, or one way they could approach a situation to be able to begin to start enjoying some of what you're talking about here with Chameleon Effect? I'm curious.
Yeah. One of the things I'll do is give a very quick breakdown of just networking so you can put yourself in more situations to get warm referrals, to be able to meet more people. A great example is how I even came on this podcast, actually. Yeah. It was Jackie that referred me, but guess who I met Jackie through Dawn. How did I meet Dawn? Through a buddy of mine named Marshall. Like I could, everything was a referral.
Yeah.
And this is what people have to understand to track. So the first thing I would tell people is many people are like, they'll say, I don't have a network. There's 3 components to networking: network creation, network activation, meaning how do you get them to represent you, refer people, things of that nature, and network maintenance. Most people think it starts with network creation. The truth of the matter is it starts with network maintenance. Every single person has a network. If you, let's say, graduate from college, what I would be doing is I would make a literal list of every person I know: college friends, parents, cousins. I literally mean anybody. And it is very specific. You can start to literally map out, and you think about the segments of people. So if I'm a brand new seller in an organization, you know what I'm doing? I'm literally saying, what roles do I need to meet? What geographies do I need to meet them in? What companies do I need to understand? What, or on my list, what industries are these in? And I'm literally calling the people I know and literally saying, hey, I'm curious. Who do you know? And it doesn't have to be within this, but just something that I can learn from. You would be surprised how small the world is. But now when you do this and you start to meet people, you start to understand the world that people are in. If you have to actually make a cold call or a cold email, like literally it sounds something to the effect, especially if you've tried to get some referrals into those individuals, that's what my cold calls or cold emails will sound like. It's like, hey, Larry, I reached out to Darrell, Jackie, Dawn. I don't know if they've responded to you or tried to get us in touch or something of that nature where automatically it piques your interest. I've intrigued you, right?
Yeah.
Create that familiarity, but it's all about that warm, at least making the effort. Because I guarantee you through all those conversations, you're learning something very specific that is actually going to help you and drive higher probability of the cold. So, you know, my whole thought process is cold outbound's not dead. It's just enough people aren't focused on the warm and the networking because they don't know how to show up and build that network. And the network is about being the chameleon and showing up in their world. That's why you're able to grow the network.
Oh, Darrell, this is so good. And just right before we wrap up, I will tell you this. I love this network stuff because that's how I met you. And I met you through Carson Hetty. That's my direct link to you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, I can't say that about Darrell because I didn't meet Darrell through a network. I actually met him at an event. That's
well, it was a network. We met at an event. That's exactly what it is.
But
here it is 20 years later, right?
Yeah, it's so this is a fascinating conversation.
I love it.
You gotta come back. You gotta come back.
I know. When this book comes out, we want you back. Well, Stephen, I know everyone listening in is asking the question that I'm asking myself. How do I get more Stephen Oommen in my life?
Yeah, there's 2 ways. One, the fastest way is go to LinkedIn, literally follow me, connect with me. I do have open messages. So whether you're connected to me or not, you follow me, you're able to message me. That's the best way to get a hold of me. Right. Everything that you're going to hear from me is how to build a go-to-network culture.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So good.
Stephen, thank you so much. This has been incredible, and we are all waiting for and cheering you on for this book to come to the world. So thanks for sharing your heart with us today. This has been really incredible.
Thank you so much.
That's our pleasure.
I love it. Larry, what a phenomenal conversation. And I'm just still thinking about Stephen putting his kid to bed, running down the court to head for the goal, and slamming the kid. Yeah, it's not a good picture. But this concept of being a chameleon is super, super powerful. And I love what we've been talking about here today.
Yeah. And I just got to play off of this chameleon effect because, the underlying in the third pillar of the trust formula, it's inspirational experiences. Mm-hmm. In other words, how you show up. That's been the underlying theme of our conversation here today.
That's right.
How are y'all showing up? That's your responsibility. It's not your leaders. It's not your companies. It's not the other person's. It's your responsibility for how you show up. Pay attention to how you all show up.
Yeah, absolutely. And do it with an authentic. This is what I really liked is there's an authentic way. There's an authentic part of you that can show up in virtually every situation. And all of that. So many good things we'll be unpacking here for a while. Thank you to everybody who is sharing this podcast. It's the network effect. It continues to grow, and we're so grateful to all of you who are liking, sharing, and especially leaving reviews on the platform on which you listen. Make sure to stay tuned. As always, we've got great guests coming up. We are scouring the earth looking for amazing people to bring to this show. So stay tuned. Our commitment to you is to bring ideas, insights, and inspiration that are going to help you succeed in your career.
Absolutely. These are fresh voices, new ideas, new insights, quite possibly people you may never have heard of before, all with the theme in mind. Get to know these people. It's the networking effect, Darrell.
That's right.
That's what we're doing here. Us together, we're building this community we call Selling from the Heart.
So check the links in the show notes to Stephen's LinkedIn profile, as well as other resources that will help you succeed. And we'll see you again next week. Till then, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust, be a chameleon, and most of all,
sell from the heart.